Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's put the music down a little bit. Alright, hopefully that music level should be good. Let me know how the audio sounds. We got 40 people in here already on a Sunday night. Thank you guys very much. Before we get into anything, hit that like button. We got 40 people in here and 6 likes. Let's get to 20 likes real quick. If you haven't hit it already, it just helps to grow the stream if you support the free analysis. And if you're not subscribed already, hit that button. There'll be like a little Wolf of Wall Street gif that will pop up on stream when you do hit the subscribe button. And if you want to send me a tip, it is the first link in the description and the pinned comment in the chat. Almost dropped my water. But yeah, guys, we're back. As you can see, what's up, Nathan? As you can see, that's like the what's it called? GIF for when somebody subscribes. So I'm gonna try and fix my music real quick. See if that works. Alright, music should be good. We're all in here. Keep hitting that like button. But yeah, we're gonna get into a bunch of stocks. What's up, Brian, Jared, Al, Nathan, Sean, Dennis, Jay, Wold. We're gonna be going through everything. We're gonna be looking at Fisker, PIC, Bitcoin, stock market, chat requests, and everything. So let's get to it. We're going to be starting off with Bitcoin. If you've been following me on Twitter, support there has been crazy. Thank you for 3,000 followers. But yeah, the cup and handle I posted on Bitcoin, I showed that this was the make or break area on my Twitter, and that's exactly where Bitcoin, you know, ran upwards, and it broke out of the handle of the cup, and now it's currently back testing the breakout. So you really want this level to hold. Like currently where the price is right now on Bitcoin, that's where you want to close your 4-hour candle. So that's what I'm mainly looking for on Bitcoin. If you can do that, great. You could be headed to retest an all-time high. Obviously, if you've been following me on Twitter for many months now, you know that I've been calling Bitcoin since it was all the way down here. I put out a buy call at 11K, and now it's almost at 20K. So you just want to hold this level, otherwise you could be headed back down to like this downsloping blue demand line. But 50 people in here currently. Thank you guys very much. Keep hitting that like button. That is Bitcoin. Now we're going to take a look at another long-term call, Fisker, for the newer people in here. Been showing it since $9 when it was at the PCZ of the bullish butterfly, and it ran up to like almost $24. And since then it's been pulling back, and I've been covering it all live on Twitter as well as on the stream every single night. So, what is Fisker doing, and why do I think that the current area on Fisker is so important? What's up, Leo? How you doing? But as you guys can see, after this, run from, or drop from 23 like 54 to now like $17, it's been pretty relentless. And I did warn about it when I showed the 4-hour classic bearish divergence. Been showing that on stream for over a week now. I've been warning about this drop. Thank you, Sean Elliott, for the subscription. But yeah, I've been warning about that. And then finally, we got the first waning level of negative momentum on the MACD, which is a great thing. This can lead to hidden bullish divergence. Currently, it's only potential. But yeah, I mean, if you can get this MACD to start moving back towards green and you can really bounce off this white demand line, this could be the area where Fisker stops pulling back and it can bounce up. Of course, you need to break 1750, which is like that minor support level. If you break that, decent chance you could be headed to 1931, but we will have to see. What you really want to do is just bounce right here. If you can get a bounce right here, that's a very strong sign for the future, because you can develop that hidden bullish divergence, which implies price continuation to the upside in this macro bull run. So yeah, that's Fisker on the 1 hour. Haven't looked at that's on the 4 hour. Haven't looked at the 1 hour too much. I wouldn't really call that classic bullish divergence, but you just want to get back above 1750 in terms of the short term. But yeah, that's Fisker. Hold this white demand line and you could run up to 1931. If you can't hold this white demand line, you're looking at $16, pretty much like $15 to $16 would be like the strong support range on Fisker, where you could, the gap's already filled, but you could develop a really strong level of demand, just because you spent months really trying to break that $15 level pretty much all throughout October and a little bit in July. So if it ever does break this white demand line, look for $15 next. And the thing I always talk about on stream, you don't have to know where the price is going right away. You just need to be able to have good risk management, and you need to know how to react. You need to be fluid. So if it pops off this demand line, you have a good sign of what could be next. If it breaks the demand line, you have a good sign of maybe where you could have a stop loss, or maybe where you could cost average, things like that. All the things I talk about on stream every single weekday. But yeah, that is Fisker. We almost got 70 people in here right now, so what is up everybody? Drop some tickers in the chat. What do you guys want me to look at during the stream? I'm going to try to get to as many as possible. Let's get that chat going. What's up, Chris? How you doing? But yeah, we got the Christmas vibes in the stream, updated a little bit. And keep hitting that like button. It just helps to grow the stream. We're sitting at 30 likes. Thank you for that. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button already, make sure to do so. But thank you guys for all the support. The tips have been insane. Crazy donations have been coming in lately, so really appreciate that. But yeah, we're looking at Snap, Johnson & Johnson, SNDL, PIC. I guess we can move on to PIC right now. But PIC, again, another thing I've been talking about on stream and posting on Twitter, and it did exactly what I said it could do, right? So you had this like descending channel, you had the 1 hour hidden bullish divergence, and it broke out. I've been calling this since 12.59 in terms of the short term, but I've been posting about it since like under $12. And it broke out, which I talked about on Twitter. Then it spent pretty much all of Friday back testing the breakout. Basically, you had a resistance and then it flipped to support. Thank you for the $3 donation, Steven. We will take a look at V. Appreciate all the tips you've been sending. Let me just finish PIC real quick. But yeah, you bounced off of the resistance turned support. You broke 1471, which was that big resistance, and you went flying. So if you would have bought, PIC at the support level I showed like midweek currently, and of course anything could change tomorrow morning, but if you sold on Friday, you could have taken like a 30% profit in just a couple of days. So great stuff there. In terms of the future, your support is 1471. But I guess what we can do now is target the Fibonacci levels. For the new people here, I use Fibonacci to predict, Neo, Fubo, Palantir, Snapchat. Pretty much all you can do when you're at an all-time high with no resistance looking left. So we're going to go to our last swing high, which was 1583, to our last swing low, which was 1259, chart that Fibonacci, and now we're going to be looking for the 1618. The golden ratio is at $17.83. That is your next resistance. If you break that, then only we could talk about like $20, but you need to break that first, and you could see some tough resistance there if you do get there. And then in terms of your support, you pretty much have two supports at this point. You have your previous all-time high, which was 1584. So you're looking at that level for sure. And then you also have 1471. So your short-term supports are 1585 and 1471. You do not want to fall back under those, and your resistances are 1783. And if you really break that, you're looking at like $20 potentially next. What is up, Narissa? How's everybody doing tonight? Thank you for the 34 likes and the 70 people in here when the market's not even open. But looking for a good week. The last 3 weeks have been insane. Probably like 30 different trades I put out, running anywhere between 10% to literally 100%. So crazy stuff there. I think next we should look at TTCF, which is like my newest trade setup. I think it looks pretty good. I'm just currently going over just some general things that I've been going over, then I will move on to chat requests. But yeah, TTCF, it had the falling wedge, it had the 4-hour classic bullish divergence on the RSI and MACD. There was also bullish divergence on the daily, so that's great as well. You broke out of the falling wedge, and take a look at the daily. You had a bullish pin bar candle followed by a bullish engulfing candle, so that's exactly what you want to see in terms of reversal, and that led to the breakout. So the entry was like $15.28, and if you can break $16, the target is pretty much $18. Going for a 17% profit. This is a trade setup, but it's not financial advice, of course. Anything can fail. So just be prepared for anything. Thank you guys for 40 likes. Really appreciate that. That means like 2/3 of us have hit that like button. So if you're part of the 1/3 that haven't hit the like button yet, make sure to hit that like button if you want to help grow the stream. But thank you guys so much. And yeah, already in profit on the trade just by a few percent. And we're just looking for that break of $16. If you can get it, you're talking about 18 as like a swing trade, but in terms of like the long term, you can see much higher levels. And you just want to hold that 200-day moving average. That's your like short-term support. Currently it's sitting at 1547. If you fall under the 200-day moving average, then you're looking at a back test of the supply line of the falling wedge, which is like this green downsloping line. But yeah, it's TTCF. In my opinion, it looks good, but the market does not really care about my opinion. So remember, anything can fail, and just always manage your risk. 4 more likes to 50 likes. I think that's the quickest we've ever gotten 50 likes on a stream, so thank you for that. Keep hitting that subscribe button as well, and if you want to send me a donation, make sure to do so. Well, don't make sure to do so, but you can if you want. It's the pinned comment in the chat. But now let's take a look at the donation request from Steven, which I think was just the ticker V. Oh, Verizon. Yeah, so Verizon, another thing I've been talking about. And this one's kind of crazy. Okay, we're gonna look at the 4-hour first. You have 4-hour hidden bullish divergence on the MACD, which implies price continuation to the upside, and you have been seeing that. You also had like a cup and handle like structure. It wasn't perfect. If it was perfect, you'd want it to start like right there. But it's the same psychology of that, where you have like a rounding bottom, which means over time, the market participants are being more and more bullish very gradually. It's very consistent price action. And then you have a handle, which is just kind of a way to, another way to look at it is a bull flag, where you have a run up, then you have some downsloping consolidation, get some weak hands out, and then you break out of it. And that just leads to a cup and handle. But it's trying to get above the 6140 level. Now, why is that so important? Let's take a look at the daily, okay? Zoom out on the daily time frame. 6 different times Verizon has failed to break this level since November 2018. So, I mean, that's crazy. I honestly, most of the time you're just looking for a 4-hour candle confirmation close to call a breakout. But on something that spent so long failing to break this level, in my opinion, you want multiple daily candle closes above, 6140. And you're only 15 cents above that. So I don't know if you're in the clear yet. And even if you do break that, you still have to break this little high from December 20th, 2019 at 62.23. If you can do that, if you can, go up $1 more and get some daily candle closes there, I mean, you're talking about much higher prices. Pretty much all you could do at that point is use Fibonacci from your previous swing high to swing low. Your 168 would be like $65. Your 2618 would be like $70. So that's what you're looking for in Verizon, but you need to hold, $60 pretty much for forever. I mean, if you're looking to take on this trade. But if it does break this resistance, you could get a major pop. You also got 5G rolling out across the nation. Definitely some catalysts. We need 1 more like to hit 50 likes. So if you haven't liked, the stream yet, just hit that like button. And let's drop some more tickers in the chat. What do you guys want to see? Thank you for all the support on this Christmas themed stream. And I think the music might be a little loud. I'm gonna put it down just a tad. All right, that should be better. Thank you for 50 likes, guys. And before we get into the chat requests, which I am gonna do next, so keep on dropping tickers. I'll try to get to as many as possible. Before I even get into that, we're gonna take a look at futures. They're down a little bit, about 0.25%. And what's really happening on the S&P futures, I've been showing this on the stream for a week and a half at this point, and you have this upsloping flag, just kind of neutral, but look at where it pulled back. You have the demand line, the supply line, and look at where the S&P futures are pulling back, right at that supply line or your resistance. So you need to break that on the S&P 500, which would be a crazy level. It'd be like 37.15 to really break out of the structure. If you can't get above 37.15, you talk about the heart line of the channel next, which is like this yellow dashed line. That would pretty much be your next support on futures. So they're kind of flat right now, but just keep an eye on that for the future. But yeah, let's look at some chat requests now. We could for sure take a look at IPOB. Been looking at it quite a bit. Had a nice little run last week. But yeah, it's just in this ascending, broadening wedge, right in the middle of it. Not much of an edge right now. If I'm being honest, it's just kind of like a coin flip. It can go either way. You have a minor support at 20.34. Your next major resistance is 23.46. There's no divergence on the 4-hour or on the daily. So just keep all of that in mind for IPOB. But yeah, just kind of neutral if I'm being completely honest. What else we got in here? OTRK on track. I think it looks fine. It's definitely taking a while. It's not been doing too much. Another trade setup I put out, pretty much sitting right at the entry price of the trade. Nothing crazy here. It wasn't like Big Commerce or Kern or Fisker or PIC or Overstock that ran like crazy days after I posted the trade. This is more of a long-term one, and it had the classic bullish divergence on the 4-hour. You want to see that MACD start going back up, and you just want to see some demand come in again. You have all the factors, but if the demand doesn't come in, then you just don't get the price action you want, and that's just how it goes. That's why you always have to manage your risk. Yeah, it's still at the 786. We take a look at the daily. I think there was some divergence there as well. Yeah, kind of. So it's just in this, I wouldn't call it a bull flag. It's just too large to be called a bull flag. So it's just in the down sloping channel, and you just want to see some, demand. You still have like this support at 49. So you're sitting right next to a support. If you break that, then take some caution. But for right now, it looks completely fine. Just might require some patience. All right. Yeah, we can take a look at ACB. Obviously had the marijuana vote in the House on Friday, and it actually sent a lot of weed stocks dipping towards the end of the day, even though I think it did get passed in the House, but still has to get through the Senate. But fact check me on that. Yeah, I know, I get the cup and handle that most people are talking about. Been showing this pennant since it was like $6, but we could probably delete that for now. Sure, you can look at it as a cup and handle, but I'm not really going to chart it right now. Just know your support is literally 967. You have the 200-day moving average at 975, and you have a horizontal support there. As you can see, $9.67 was your support on August 3rd and August 13th. So you do have some price action there, even from April of this year. So you just want to hold 967 if you can do so. Talking about a next resistance, probably like 1214. That's the next area where you could see some turbulence, assuming you do hold 967. And just keep in mind, you just ran from $6 to $12. So if you see a pullback, what can you say? Just had a crazy run. And of course, over the long term, most weed stocks have just been crushed. But you just got to break out of this whole entire accumulation range, assuming the legalization does happen and, you know, these companies really do start making revenue. But I think ACB is a Canadian company, so I don't know how that would affect things. Pretty sure ACB is the Canadian one. Another weed stock, you know, I put out a trade setup for 40% profit in 1 week on Tilray. I called the bottom on it at 673, or the local bottom at the 786 with hidden bullish divergence, and it ran right up to my target of $9.61. And then where did it pull back? At the target. So called the low, called the high, and now it's just kind of, you know, it's in the upper range of the run. So your support is 834. You just want to hold that on Tilray. But yeah, let's look at some more chat requests. Keep hitting that like button. Thank you for 54 likes. And if you're not subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. Oh, we got some more tickers coming in here. Yeah, I know a lot of people are talking about Rocket. Let's see how the MACD looks, because that was what was worrying me about Rocket for a while. Can delete this. That was like, you know, it was a trade setup. It went up 13%, but it didn't hit the exact target. Yeah, I don't know about Rocket. If we take a look at the daily, you can see that there is some hidden bearish divergence on the daily, which implies price continuation to the downside, and that's exactly what's been happening. I've been warning about the hidden bearish divergence since the price was like $23. And all it's done since then is fall. It even fell under the $20 support. So I don't know. I think, if you ask me personally, I don't think it's currently bullish. I don't know if it has the factors you need for a bullish reversal. I get the inverse head and shoulders, where this is your left shoulder, this is your head. And if you wanted this to be your right shoulder, you really wanted to hold $20. So falling under 20 is not good in my opinion. So, I mean, in terms of the technicals, they just don't look great. If I'm being completely honest, the next major support is like 1850 or so. But yeah, just not much of an edge right now. This is not, you know, something I personally put my money in for the short term. But if we're talking about the long term, I really do think the fundamentals on Rocket are great. I think they're, you know, definitely a company that will be able to make money over the next few decades. You know, you're talking about esport sponsorships, you're talking about NBA teams. I think they're working with the Cleveland Cavaliers, if I'm not mistaken, and then obviously Rocket Mortgage and the digitization of you know, house buying and stuff like that. So I think the fundamentals are there. It's just currently not being priced into the stock. So we're gonna have to see. You just want to get this daily MACD back to green. But that is Rocket. We got two different people that want to look at Fubo. Sure, we can take a look at Fubo. If you've been here for a while, this was not my call. I think Zach Morris on Twitter was the original person who called it, but a lot of people were requesting it, so I did what I do. And I warned about this first peak at $20, and that's exactly where it pulled back. And then I put out a buy signal on Twitter when it was $15. Now it's sitting at $27. So crazy run in terms of Fubo. And then look where it reversed at the current 2618. This is why we use Fibonacci extensions. As you can see, it pulled back right at the 2618. So if you want to be extremely technical here, your support is 2384, which isn't too close, unfortunately. That's just what happens when you get like big runs up. And then your resistance. Really, I mean, you could talk about like 2783. That could be a short-term resistance, but your real resistance is just obviously your previous all-time high at 2921. So that's what you're looking at on Fubo. No divergence, no pattern, just a crazy run up, you know, since the ascending triangle back test. Like, you know, obviously that's some past data from another chart. This is a newer stock, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, not too much to do here. You know your support, you know your resistance. Other than that, it's a coin flip on Fubo. What else we got in here? PFE, is that Pfizer? Yeah, it's Pfizer. So I think on Friday there was like a report that came out basically saying like half the doses they sent out had like some bad ingredients in it or something. Had a pullback towards the end of last week. You have multiple gap fills on Pfizer, and look at exactly where Pfizer you know, pulled back. at the resistance I showed, I think like 2 weeks ago on stream. But if you guys want to see that resistance, I think it's on the 4-hour, not seeing on the daily. Yeah, we could scroll back away in time. I mean, just this whole entire area of 4091, 4041 is your current high. So 4091 is the real resistance. Pretty much from January until June, you couldn't break it. Then when you did break it, you had like a 5% run. And then in August, nasty drop down. Been accumulating ever since. I like the higher lows right here. And then you dipped again. And then obviously with the new vaccine news, it just had to run up. So probably more fundamental and catalyst rather than technical for now. But the technicals, I mean, we're talking about no edge on the MACD on the 4-hour, no edge on the daily, multiple gap fills, and then your support at 39 and your resistance at like 4091, or more specifically 4141, which was like your high of this rally. But again, you just got to watch out for all those gap fills. You have a gap fill to like 3660, 3725, 3877. So you have 3 different gap fills to the downside after a run from 32 to 4140. So not much of an edge there either. Let's get some more tickers in the chat. What do you guys want to see? Keep on dropping some stuff in there. Oh, and I gotta look at 2 more that I was requested on Twitter. First one is Tree. I've been talking about Tree for a while, but I never put out an official trade setup on Tree until Friday. Basically, I've been watching it, but I never put out a trade setup because I was just waiting for something to confirm, and that thing did confirm, which I'm about to talk about. So I put out the official trade setup on Friday. It's already in profit by like 1%, but I have call options on Tree. This is why I got my call options. Obviously, I had a crazy rundown. Not a super high volume stock at all. Pretty small company. Bad earnings, had a gap down. Been falling crazy ever since. And I was just very, patient on when I wanted to put out the official trade setup. I wanted more of an edge. So yeah, you have a falling wedge and you have classic bullish divergence on the 4-hour. A falling wedge with classic bullish divergence on the 4-hour. Does anybody remember? If I can find it. Probably just gonna have to look it up. Alright, so we're talking about classic bullish divergence on the 4-hour with the falling wedge, okay? Let's take a look at Overstock. Falling wedge with actually triple classic bullish divergence on the 4-hour. And that was the trade setup I put out. It went up, I posted it at $54 and it went to my target at 68.42, 26% trade on Overstock. That was like 2 weeks ago if you're new here. But yeah, very similar setup on Tree, but obviously a very different company, so keep that in mind. Obviously not at the level of Overstock. But on Friday at the end of the day, right before right around when I was putting out the trade setup, it confirmed the classic bullish divergence. As you can see, you got a green tick on the MACD, which is how you confirm that classic bullish divergence. And then it broke out of the falling wedge. So the entry of the trade was like 241, and I'm looking for a target of 271, but obviously you have to get back above 252 first. In terms of your support, you're looking at 236, but my stop loss on the trade, and again, you have to make your own stop loss. It depends on your risk tolerance, and that's just completely up to you. Currently going over that, Christy, but yeah, in terms of my risk management, this is how I'm looking at it. Since I put out the trade, it is in profit. Stop loss would just be under the previous low, because in a downtrend, you don't want to create a lower low. You want to keep on making higher lows to reverse that downtrend. So you made your first higher low with this candle, if you're looking at like the 1 hour. But if it breaks under, the lowest part of this downtrend, which is 234.58, and there is a lot of things that line up for 222, but you don't want to be holding it till 222. You'd want to stop out and then talk about it at 222 if it gets there, right? And then at the same time, you just got the classic bullish divergence and you just broke out the wedge. So if you fell all the way back down to 230, I think the stop on this chart is like 233. If you fell all the way back down to 233, there's no way you would still have classic bullish divergence, and there's no way you'd still be broken out of the falling wedge unless it took like, 15 days to get there, something like that. So yeah, that's how I strategize my stop loss. It's a 3.5% stop loss, so pretty tight stop. But yeah, that's tree. Had some people ask for it. What is up, Austin? How you doing? Don't know why you got the sad face, but we need one more like to hit 60 likes. Appreciate all the support, guys. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, and if you want to send me a tip, it is the first link in the description and the pinned comment in the chat. But yeah, that is tree. Now I also want to look at LMB, and sure, we could take a look at HYLN and OPES. But yeah, LMB, Sean requested this on Twitter. Cup and handle, we've been talking about it for some time, and it's just, really trying to get back above 1237. If you can get a 4-hour candle close over 1237, that would be a confirmed breakout. You have yet to do so. You do not have any 4-hour candle closes over 1237, within this cup and handle. If you break that, then we'll talk about the targets. But, you can see much higher levels. The cup and handle in this placement is a continuation pattern. You just need to break 1237. So you cannot confirm it until that is broken with confirmation, and maybe even like a back test and flipping your resistance into support. That is LMB. And then I think we're going to look at HYLN and then OPES. Another thing I just want to note real quick on LMB, I do like how the MACD is creating bullish convergence. It's not divergence, but convergence just means both your price and your MACD are going up. So it's not like super bullish, but it's a good thing, in general, to see both the price and the oscillator doing a very similar thing. So just keep that in mind. But of course, you still need to break 1237. Now let's take a look at HYLN. I have not posted an official trade setup on it. I might. It's at the make or break area. That's the simplest way to put it. Just had a very nasty drop down. I warned about the breakout of this upsloping, channel right when it happened, and then it gapped down like 2 days after that to like 2165, and now finally it's starting to show an edge. Thank you, Amor, for the $10 donation. Really appreciate it. Again, guys, if you want to send me a donation, it's the pinned comment in the chat. But yeah, so HYLN, classic bullish divergence on the 4-hour and the RSI. RSI is it's not like super confirmed. No, I mean, neither of them are confirmed, but you're getting a potential here. You want to see that demand come in. You just don't know if it will come in, right? So the buy range of this chart, it's not a trade setup for now. I might make it a trade setup in a little bit. Maybe tomorrow, we'll see what happens. But the buy zone just for this chart, you know what I'm saying? We're just talking about probability, would be as close to 1740 as possible. Anywhere in this green box, really, but obviously the lower the better, buy low, sell high. The reason I have 1740 is because you have a gap fill at 1740. You still have not filled the gap from June 25th. So if somehow you get down to fill that gap and the MACD is still going up, that could be a very good sign of a reversal in the downtrend, a very nasty downtrend. So you're just looking at that. You want this MACD to switch over to green, and if you can get that, you'll have confirmed classic bullish divergence. Unfortunately though, I mean, you do have a gap fill, but you would have to break back above 1854, and I mean, you still have the 200-day moving average, but you could easily make a 10% trade even by then. So again, no trade setup on this. I'm still monitoring it, but it is doing something pretty interesting, and I do want to bring it up. I just don't know if it has all the variables yet. I just don't see, any pattern. You have the divergence and you have the support, but if the support breaks, then take caution, because then the next one would be like 1571. But yeah, that is HYLN. Appreciate the $10 donation again. Thank you guys for 64 likes. Really appreciate that. Let's keep it going. What else we want to look at? Keenan says AGS potential reversal. I'm really curious about, want to see your input. All right, we can take a look at AGS from Keenan Ellis. Keep dropping those tickers in the chat. The macro trend on this chart, just not great. I'm gonna have to go to the daily for this. But let's see if it even broke the downtrend. No, I mean, you're talking about it. You're getting close. I mean, not really. I mean, it looks like you are, but just because of how much the price got crushed, you still have a while to go. So yeah, I mean, it's not too far. Just depends on when you get there. But yeah, I do like the higher lows over here. You made a lower low right here though, but then you got this run up and you did break the 200-day moving average, which I do like as well. But again, just not much of a pattern on the daily and no divergence at all. Guess we could take a look at the 4-hour. No divergence there either, so not much of an edge on this chart if I'm being honest, but I do like, you know, what it's doing, getting above the 200-day moving average, creating this like accumulation range. You essentially would really just need to break $6.09. If you ever do that, then your next target would be like this white down sloping line, which is just the original, you know, pivot area of the downtrend, but that is AGS. So Austin is spamming a ticker or something. I don't know what's going on. Oh yeah, OPES. BurgerFi. Again, I've been talking about BurgerFi. I never put out a trade setup on it, but if you were in stream, it was kind of like a stream exclusive. I've been talking about OPES since it was since it was $12 last week, right? I showed how it broke out of the resistance line, this down yellow supply line. It broke the 200-day moving average, it broke 1156, and right in this area right here, this is where we were going over OPES on stream. Okay, so since there, it's had a 26% run, and that is exactly what can happen when you break out of a downtrend. So obviously you have several gaps that have yet to be filled. You could probably consider the bottom one a breakaway gap, at least for the short term. But yeah, I mean, we've been talking about this since like $12. It had the crazy run up, it broke out, it broke 1349 and it broke 1505. So now your supports are 1505 and 1349. Your previous resistances are now your supports on OPES. Sure, I'll take a look at Best Buy, Austin. Just try not to spam stuff in the chat. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a next resistance, you could easily see much higher levels. Just do take caution because it's up like 50%, you know, since the bottom. It is a SPAC, which is why you had like that $10 support. Wasn't really talking about it at $10, but I did start talking about it at 12. Nice run. Just not much of an edge currently. If you really want to use Fibonacci, which would kind of be weird on this chart, the way to target the Fibonacci would be from this swing high to this swing low. And your 1618 was actually 1505, so you broke that. So your next Fibonacci line is $16.40. So 1640 is your resistance, and that white and blue line on your screen are your supports. That is the OPES breakdown. Alright, we're going to take a look at Best Buy. I think I looked at it last week as well, so I might already have it charted. Yeah, sure, you could call it head and shoulders. It just kind of looks like a triple top though, just because the shoulders were at the same level of the head, right? So I just think it looks like a triple top, which is ugly, bearish pattern. But just to show you that, probably got to fix this, right? Yeah. I'm super zoomed out, so it just makes it a little bit harder to do. Don't mind my drawings, but you get the point. Three different times you really failed to break $125. And what happens when you fail to break something 3 times in a row with a Fibonacci confirmation? Triple top, and it sends you to much lower prices. You broke the neckline of $111, which really confirms that pattern, and it's just been dumping ever since. You don't have any divergence on the 4-hour, but you are $2 away from a support. The first support is $103.86. You're pretty close to that. So sure, you could get a bounce in that area, but if you don't, what happens if you don't get a bounce and you fall under 103? Like, then it's like it can get scary. You have gaps to fill to like $90. No major supports until $92. So it's either you bounce off this general area, or you could easily be headed to test the resistance from here and flip it into support and your 200-day moving average. So 103 and 92 are your two levels to look at. That is Best Buy. No divergence on the 4-hour, no divergence on the daily. Triple top, pretty ugly. That is where you could see a major reversal in the trend, and currently that's what you've been seeing on Best Buy. But again, you're at a potential bounce area. We'll see what happens. Would like it if there was a pattern and divergence. There just isn't. There's only support levels to look at for the short term. What do I think of HON? Another thing I've been posting that broke out. Didn't make it a trade setup, but I did post it on my Twitter. I think I went over it on stream. I think somebody even might have requested it on stream. Don't remember who it was. But yeah, HON posted it on Twitter. Somebody requested it in here, so thank you to them. I personally didn't take this trade just because the target was like a 6.5% profit, so I was looking at other trades at the time. But yeah, very textbook ascending triangle. An ascending triangle is a bullish continuation pattern. You want to see them after a run up. It means that you just had a run up, but you're making higher lows, which shows the uptrend, but you have the same sell wall. And then when you break that sell wall, which was at 209, 2010, well, not 210. So 209 or 210, however you want to say it, 209.77. I'm just going on a rant at this point. But yeah, you broke out of it, and your next, target is the 1618 at 215. After that, the measured move of the pattern at 223 and the 2618 at 225. So if it really does keep going right here, you're talking about like this as like a potential trend reversal area. But again, it just depends on how the divergence looks, and it depends if there's a pattern there. So many things can change. It depends on how the market looks. You just have to keep on looking at it. Things can change overnight. So just because it looks good now doesn't mean it can look good tomorrow. Have to be fluid, have to manage your risk. And yeah, good stuff breaking out though for sure. You could even get a back test and flip 210 to support, and that is HON. But yeah, if you guys really want me to look at a ticker, the best thing to do, as Rooster is saying, is just give me a little bit of an explanation of why do you want me to look at that. Give me an argument. Give me a thesis. What do you think it is? Do you think it's bearish? Do you think it's bullish? And why? What are you seeing on the chart that you've learned from this stream? And if you want to learn more, I have a full free course on my channel. It is in the description, pretty much from beginners all the way to advanced. Pretty digestible, not super packed. The more packed stuff is done on stream. But if you want to check that out, go for it in the description. Yeah, let's take a look at AMD and NEO. I like both of those. AMD, another thing we went over on stream. I know Print, the top donor of the stream, who dropped a $500 donation. I think it was 2 Thursdays ago. So shout out to Print. I don't know if you see it tonight, but he requested this. Thank you for the subscription, Preston. Really appreciate it. But yeah, AMD, it was in this neutral channel. Could have went either way, but it went to the upside, and since it broke out, it's ran from $87 to $94. The measured move of the breakout is 102, but you obviously have the psychological resistance at 100. And another stat that most people don't really know about is, I think it's like 80% of assets that break $90 on the stock market see $100 in the short term. Just because being so close to $100, the psychology of traders is you really want to push it to that triple digit price. That was something I learned from Mitch Ray, who's pretty much the person that taught me all of this. If you want to check him out on YouTube, go for it. Definitely at a different level in terms of technical analysis, just trying to help spread his message, and it's been great so far. But yeah, your support is 87, 86, and your measured move would be 102, but keep in mind 100 could be a resistance, just psychologically. That is AMD. Now let's take a look at NEO. Had like 6 or 7 crazy calls on NEO last month, but haven't looked at it too much since then. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of looks like a rounding top. It's been having, last week was a pretty bad week for it overall, while other EVs like PIC had a nice run, a couple others as well. So that's something, what's his name? Stocksman on Twitter. I was watching his stream earlier, and he was saying, if you see something in a sector that is doing the opposite of what the sector is doing, take caution. But again, it is parabolic. It's had a crazy run all year. If you've been watching the stream, I didn't talk about it until like $30 because I didn't even know about it till 30. But obviously after something runs like that, everybody seems to know about it. But yeah, I mean, I've called like 7 different buying and selling areas since it hit $35 perfectly just using Fibonacci. So if we want to do it again, your clear swing high was like $57. And if you're talking about the swing low, $25.46. You had a 2x from your swing low to swing high, which is extremely uncommon, but that's just what happens when you're talking about Neo. So yeah, now we're using Fibonacci again. I don't know if the 8th time in a row will be correct, but we will have to see. And I think the other thing I talked about last week was $39. I said it could bounce off that because it was in the golden zone between the 0.618 and the 50% retrace. And look where it bounced, $39. We went over that on the stream last week. It had a nice bounce there, had like a pretty decent candle from 39 all the way to like 47, and then it fell back down again. So there's not much of an edge. You're just looking for bounces in this golden area between 41 and 37.52, and you just don't want to fall under 38.35. Unfortunately, that is pretty far from the current price. That's just what happens when you have something as volatile as Neo. No divergence on the 1 hour either. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of any charts that really, where is it? I always keep on forgetting. I don't like rounding tops where like over time you have this curvature, which means over time the bearishness is increasing but not too quickly. It's increasing gradually, which could be a trend reversal. But again, it's a parabolic stock, so who knows? We're just gonna have to see. But that is Neo. Oh, we got a donation and the request was Square. Sorry, like if you don't type like the donation request like in the message, I might not see it in the chat just because of how it's moving. So apologies for that, but we will look at Square. Thank you for the $10 donation. So yeah, Square. This is a pretty interesting chart. I'm looking at the 1 hour. I think we should just look at the 4 hour. I definitely see a supply line. I don't know if you have a channel. It kind of looks like an ascending broadening wedge, just like how I'm looking at it. So let's see how that kind of looks. Where this would be your resistance line. Oh, that's a perfect resistance line. And then your support line would be going the opposite way. This just creates an ascending broadening wedge where your support and your resistance are going apart from each other, which pretty much implies an increase of volatility in the future. That's exactly what happened from 152 to $200, then you fell back down to 173, then you ran back up to 214. The volatility is very high on Square. But they've been having a crazy run. I believe they bought Bitcoin a couple months ago. That was a big catalyst for Bitcoin. I think it was Square and PayPal, if I'm not mistaken, and then Citibank gave Bitcoin like a crazy price target, along with the crazy technicals on Bitcoin. But yeah, this is Square. You just need to break that upper supply line, which could be pretty hard. If you don't, your support, like your macro support, is all the way down here on this upsloping support line. But if you're talking about like a short-term support, we could probably zoom in. Yeah, I think the next like major support would be like 185, but who knows if you get there. The fundamentals on Square are pretty decent. Definitely a big support at 185 if you fall under that over here, and then you just want to break this top line. One thing I do like about Square is on the 4 hour you have hidden bullish divergence, which implies price continuation to the upside with about like a 65% probability. Oh yeah, and thank you Rooster for reminding me. Appreciate that. The best mod in the world. But yeah, hidden bullish divergence implies price continuation to the upside with about a 65% probability. You just don't have any pattern alongside it. What you want to see is a pattern, a support, I'm messing up my words again. A pattern, a support, and a divergence, right? That's what you want to see. So yeah, I mean, not much of an edge on the daily. So you're looking at this ascending broadening wedge with hidden bullish divergence on the 4 hour. Those are your levels to look at. Don't expect anything, just react to whatever happens with risk management. With risk management, like we talk about, man, whenever I get like 50 minutes into the stream, my speech just goes out the window. Kind of lose track of how I'm talking with how much I do talk. But thank you guys for the 68 likes. Let's run up 2 more likes to hit 70. I don't know if we've ever hit 70 likes during a stream. Usually, like, I think the most I've gotten is like 85, but it was like 60 people liked it during the stream, and like 25 people liked the replay of it. So if you haven't hit that like button already, we need 2 more likes to hit 70, and it's a Sunday night, so really appreciate all the support. We got 62 people in here currently. Yeah, we can take a look at Piton, but keep dropping takers in the chat. Probably going for like another half an hour or something like that. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you want to send me a tip. It is the pinned comment in the chat. Or is Piton on? Piton on? Where's Piton at? Should be on my watch list, but Piton, another trade setup. There was a terrible stop hunt on it, but I did say that it closed the day over 100, so it was still good. And since that closed over 100, very nice run. Went up like 15% since $100. So great stuff there. You still have the gap fill to 124. Probably could be argued that your classic bullish divergence already played out on the 4-hour. But if we take a look at the daily, I think you still have hidden bullish divergence. Yeah, you certainly do, which implies price continuation to the upside. From right here to over here, you made a higher low on price, but you made a lower low on your MACD, which implies price continuation to the upside. Pretty much what you've been getting from $92 to $115. You have the confirmed divergence, but you did get one little level of waning momentum. So just keep watching that. And yeah, I mean, you're just looking for that gap fill of 122.49. If you can break that, you're probably going to retest all-time highs, but it's a big if question. You know, the divergence already has gone a long way from like $100 to $115. So at what point are you just pushing it in the short term? I'm not too sure. And then your supports are 108 and $100. Nathan says you're doing good. This is the first time I've been in your stream. Your TA is very good. Appreciate that, Nathan. I try my best. Been learning this for about a year, so just trying to help others out for free. That's the whole entire point of this movement, the free trading movement. Appreciate all the support you guys have been showing with the likes, with the subscribes, the follows on Twitter, the donations. Appreciate all of that, guys. Steven says thank you, up 13% on Piton because of the stream. Very glad to hear that. What else we got in here? Christy, are you still in the stream? You want me to look at APPS? Recent failed breakout at 42. Testing again. Will it go? We could take a look at that. Whoa, $3 donation by Hugh Jass. Again, guys, if you're new to the stream, any donation $3 or higher, I'll look at it right away just as like a thank you for, you know, the donation. So we'll take a look at WBA. Appreciate the 3. Hugh, that's how you pronounce it. Interesting, $43 stock. Pretty decent. Oh, this is Walgreens. All right. I know Walgreens. Macro trend, not great. Kind of looks like it was in a falling wedge and it broke out. So what did you say on the donation? Just requested the ticker. It looks like you had that falling wedge. Take a look at it like this, right? Where that was your supply line and this was your support line. Yeah, you just broke out of a falling wedge on Walgreens. And you broke the 200-day moving average. I really like the long-term pattern. This could be a trend reversal for Walgreens. Just, you know, keep in mind the fundamentals of COVID cases rising, lockdowns happening again like in California. That could definitely affect a company like Walgreens. Thank you guys for the 70 likes. Really appreciate that. But yeah, falling wedge. Classic bullish reversal pattern. You broke out of it with confirmation, broke the 200-day moving average. Gonna have to zoom in. You did not have any divergence on the daily. We could take a look at the 4-hour. And this song is just weird. I don't know what this is gonna be, but we could listen to it. Yeah, hidden bullish divergence on the 4-hour. Yo, I really wish you requested this on October 30th because that would have been the easiest call of a lifetime. You're talking about being a super long-term support line with hidden bullish divergence. Obviously there was a better area to enter this trade. You could have entered it at when the hidden bullish divergence was being created at $38. But again, like, even though it's not the best place to buy, if you're looking at the long-term trend, like, this could be a reversal on Walgreens. And there's really not any major resistance until $49. So in time, there is a decent probability that Walgreens could be headed back to $50. Could take weeks, could take, more than that, could take less, no way to know. But I do like Walgreens, great request. And yeah, I mean, if you want a support level, probably just use the 200-day moving average. That's currently at $41. But great request. I like the chart. Doing some very good things that could imply a major reversal in the long term. Buddy says, where did you learn it from? You want to learn? So I got, in terms of the question, I learned from a YouTuber named Mitch Ray. He's actually on my TV right now. Been watching his streams for like a year. Even before I was old enough to trade, I've been watching his streams just because I was interested in Bitcoin. But yeah, I learned from him. Just watched the streams every single day for a year. That's pretty much how I learned all of this. If you want to learn, you could watch the stream. I also have my own course. The link for that is in the description. It's like just over an hour long, from beginner all the way to advanced. It's not super packed, but it's pretty digestible. So if you want to check that out, go for it. But yeah, that is Walgreens. Great request. I'm going to keep it on my watch list. I want to keep on monitoring, how it reacts to this confirmed breakout of the falling wedge. So appreciate the donation. Let's keep it going. Again, hit that like button. We got 72 likes already. So it seems like everybody here has hit that like button. But if you haven't yet, go for it. Hit that subscribe button as well. We got the Christmas theme today. Just because it's December, Christmas is in, like 19 days. But yeah, guys, appreciate all the support. Let's look through some more stuff. TSNP. Sure. I mean, it's an OTC stock again. I talk about OTC stocks on stream. Like, it's not that I don't like them. It's just technical analysis really doesn't work for them. What am I supposed to do here? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to look at the fibs, like, sure. It bounced exactly at the golden retrace. This is why I talk about Fibonacci and why I always talk about the golden zone, the golden retrace. It went all the way up to 24 cents. And where did it, finally find support after dumping? At the golden retrace when this asset was 62% off. Fibonacci is a real thing all throughout the universe, and it can also be used in trading, as you're currently seeing on this chart. Unfortunately, though, this is all I can do on a chart like this just because it's just straight lines. That's not really where technical analysis works. So your resistance is 24 cents and your next support is like 13. I really don't know how that can help you out. I'm just trying to be straightforward. Not much I can do there. But that's TSNP. And then HCAC, Hennessy Capital. Another SPAC. Again, crazy run. We've been talking about it since it was at these levels. I didn't put out a trade setup or anything, but we've been going over it on stream. I showed the levels it needed to break to see a run like this. Why did I not put any resistances over $11.26? Because there weren't any major resistances over $11.26. I literally said, if you break $11.26, who knows how high it can go. And it ended up running all the way to $14.42. So now at this point, the level you are looking at is the previous all-time high at $13.50. That is your resistance. If you can get back above it, probably going to retest $14.40. If you cannot get back above it, I mean, I think you have a gap to fill at let's see, can't even tell where that is. Hold up. You have a gap to fill at 11.98. So again, when you have a crazy run up, the TA really doesn't work. And if you really want an answer, like, your support and your resistance are just super far away from each other just because of how crazy the run was. Another thing I do like, though, is how it broke out of 11.26, right? It had a crazy run, and then it dumped. But look where it bounced off of, 11.26. Here is a perfect example of your long-term resistance being turned into support, a support resistance flip like we always talk about. But that is HCAC. One Went over to 1950 after hours on Friday, it says trade min, and then Kinade says it's at 16 aftermarket. So crazy run, just like PIC aftermarket. But PIC honestly started going before the market closed. So I mean, you're at crazy levels, right? Let me just see, because I'm getting different numbers in the chat, right? Let me see what Yahoo Finance says. HCAC. And of course, it's not showing the after hours because it's the weekend. So, all right, regardless of what price it's at, I'm seeing different prices. We could probably use Fibonacci here, right? Let me just put on something else. All right, that's kind of slow, but whatever. All right, so if it did break 1350, which you guys are saying it did after hours, and assuming it opens there tomorrow, which obviously it easily could, this is how you would target the Fibonacci from your previous swing high at 1440 to your swing low at 1118. Your two golden ratios would be 1638, which some people are saying it's around that level after hours. And if you break that, like for real, you're talking about 1959. Those are the two golden ratios. I use them to predict Neo, Fubo, Palantir, and Snapchat. But again, it's not going to work on everything, so take that with a grain of salt. And insane pattern. If we look at the daily, we could probably do one more thing on HCAC. If we draw a trend line from right here to right here, kind of lines up, not perfect or anything, but assuming you really did break 1480, this like upsloping previous resistance could be your new support, right? So I would have to see how it opens tomorrow. Have to take a look at it again. Just not too easy to chart something after hours when the candles aren't on the chart. So just trying to go off the top of my head. And look who we got in here. Print is in the chat. I was talking about you earlier when we were going over AMD. I don't know if you were here for that. Somebody asked me to look at AMD, and I told him I know AMD has been great, and I think you were the one that originally requested AMD. So what's up, Print? Yeah, so Rooster's saying they went to the 1618. So you break it, you could be testing around $20. If you can't break it, your major supports would be 1449 and 1350. Just your previous all-time high and this resistance area of 1350. So I'm seeing a bunch of different prices. I'm not too sure. Just those are the levels to look at on the chart. Obviously, they're super spread out, and that's just what happens when you have something that's super volatile. That is Hennessy Capital Acquisition Corp. Let's get some more requests in the chat. What do you guys want to see? Still got 50 people in here. Thank you guys for the 75 likes. That has to be the most amount of likes we've gotten on stream to date, so thank you for that. If I click EXT on the bottom right hand corner, you can see extended hours. EXT. I'm not seeing that. Extended, because I actually had extended hours on TradingView and I have the pro version, but it just stopped showing me it. So I've been using Yahoo Finance after hours, just that doesn't really work on the weekends. But I don't see EXT anywhere on the bottom right. Yeah, this has to be the record. 76 likes now. Thank you guys very much for that. But you guys get the point of the levels and stuff on the daily. Yeah, guys, you get the levels, right? Even if we looked at the after hours, it wouldn't really change the levels. Just wherever you are at, keep that in mind. Because again, even if I do show that right now, and different exchanges are probably showing different things, what matters is how it opens tomorrow. It could open at anything. It could gap down. It could gap up. Just keep that in mind, and then those are your levels. Yeah, Digital Turbine, another high flyer this year. No divergence on the daily. Kind of got some hidden bullish divergence on the 4 hour, but it's not like super strong. It's just like two little islands right here. Usually I don't consider that too much, but maybe like a channel, even though you kind of broke out to the downside right here. maybe you could look at this as a channel on the 4-hour, right? If you ignore this one part right here, which was around earnings, so that makes sense. But let's look at it like this, right? Something like that. Then if we pull this back, that probably lines up with the price right here. Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect, but you get the point, where you're just like this upsloping channel. Got the upper resistance line up, or a lower support line. A little bit of hidden bullish divergence on the 4-hour, nothing too crazy. And you're at the hard line, so this one truly is a coin flip. You could bounce off the hard line, see the resistance line again, you could break under it, see the demand line. No way to know. The only slight edge you have is like maybe some hidden bullish divergence, but nothing too crazy on the oscillators. Alt F4 shows it too. Yeah, I'm sure it does, Borge. I'm sure it does. Thank you again for that donation the other day, by the way. Appreciate that, Borge. Thank you guys for 77 likes. We blew the previous like record out of the park, so really appreciate that. DraftKings, sure. I think it broke out of the channel that I showed, which I did warn about. DraftKings, it's right under that channel. If we're being exact, it did break out of it to the downside, but you still are above that 48.30 support. So you might get some funny action where you bounce off of it, maybe not. We're gonna have to see. Never even filled the gap to 55.81, but this whole entire story with DraftKings was the head and shoulders that I warned about at 48, then it dumped. Then I showed the classic bullish divergence on the 4-hour and the hidden bullish divergence on the daily when it was 39. And then since I showed that on stream at 39, it ran up like 36%. So I don't know why the stuff reversed here or deleted right here, but that was your hidden bullish divergence on the daily. And then if we go to the 4-hour, this right here was your classic bullish divergence, right? So yeah, that's DraftKings. It's just this channel. I mean, if you break out of you still 48.30, if you don't hold 48.30, you know, then we're talking like the lower $40 range. You still have like a gap fill right there, kind of $44 support, stuff like that. Not too complicated, super simple. Just this upsloping channel. If you break out to the downside, like truly, and you fall under 48.30, take caution. But that is DraftKings. And another weird song. I really gotta find a new playlist. I'm listening to lo-fi beats on Spotify. Some songs are nice, but some of them are just terrible. Christy says, hey, can you talk about the volatility this week, sitting in cash and wondering if I should wait a week or two before putting it to play? Sure. I mean, we talked about it on Thursday night on my last stream. Again, I stream every Sunday and then Monday through Thursday. So Sunday to Thursday night is when I stream. But yeah, I mean, on the S&P, we showed how it was at an all-time high. It broke the 35.88 previous all-time high from September 2nd. It broke out of this pennant, which I've been showing on stream for multiple weeks. And then even after it broke out of the pennant, it back tested the breakout. And that was last Monday when a lot of people were freaking out on Twitter, and I was like, don't panic sell, don't panic sell, my opinion, right? Not financial advice. And then what happened? You bounced off the back test like I thought it could, and then it rallied throughout the rest of the week. Of course, not every sector had a rally, but the S&P 500 did, and closed at, I think it was 80 cents under $3,700 on the close. Says $36.99 and 20 cents in the bottom right of my screen, but you guys can't see that because my face cam is blocking it. And then on the chart it says 36.99.11. So what you're getting is the S&P is at a super high level, but the volatility index, the VIX, is doing something interesting as well. It's in this range. If you want to look at it as a falling wedge, sure. But this is what kind of gets scary. The volatility index is at the pretty much the same level it was before the major dip in what was it, September? Yeah, the last time the volatility index was at 20, the S&P saw this crash right here. I mean, all the indexes saw this dip. What was it? Where was it? From right here. So the last time the volatility index was at this level, there was a 10% drop on the S&P 500, which for an index is horrible, especially in, a month. A 10% drop in a month means stocks are really dropping. Of course, not every single industry, but just the overall market. So the VIX is still at that same exact level. As long as it holds 20, you could see a big bounce. But again, like, the VIX is a dependent factor. It depends on the market to be volatile. Of course, you could say it does signal how low the volatility is, and then if you put that with the COVID cases rising, political uncertainty, and stuff like that, yeah, you could see a bounce at this level. I can't argue that. But if you fall under 20, then you have a gap fill to 18. But at the same time, like, do gap fills really matter on the volatility index? I don't know if they work on it, because it is a dependent chart. Depends. I think somebody told me it depends on the futures contracts for the S&P or something like that. So I'm not too sure on how exactly it works, but you get the point. It's a volatility S&P 500 index. Rooster says, let me put down the music a little bit. Rooster says the post-Thanksgiving COVID numbers, along with being at a high on multiple indexes, say there may be a better time to enter anything soon. Absolutely, anything is possible. Be prepared for anything and have good risk management. And then Prince says 2 major items this week: stimulus and whether we get a government shutdown. We should know about stimulus tomorrow. Government funding ends on Friday. See if Congress can pass a short-term funding bill. I think there was like a report that came out that said Nancy Pelosi wanted, like, she actually said she wanted less money. She doesn't think we need the same amount anymore with the vaccine coming out. So, I mean, we're talking the presidential change, we're talking the vaccine, we're talking the COVID cases rising and shutdowns. It's like a super crazy world right now, but that's just been the story of this year. So we're just going to have to see. Remember, don't expect anything, just react. As long as you have good risk management, which is what I talk about every night on the stream, with stop losses, proper position sizing, not taking trades that are too speculative and taking more value area trades, stuff like that. You shouldn't be, having trouble sleeping at night because the market could dump tomorrow. Who knows? It could dump tomorrow, it could dump next week, it could dump in 5 years. There is truly no way to know for sure. But you can use probability with technical analysis, and we are being given some factors that are a little bit concerning. It's not like a red light, it's more like a yellow light, right? In terms of the technicals. But in terms of the fundamentals, it kind of is like a red light. So we're going to have to see. But again, I mean, if we get a nice stimulus, that could send the market up. So there is certain factors that can point the needle either way. So again, don't expect anything, just react. But yeah, I think that was a great stream. We were going for just over an hour on a Sunday night. Broke the like record. We had 77 likes. If 3 of you have not hit that like button already, get us to 80 likes. I feel like most people have hit it. I don't know. Appreciate all the support. I'm going to be back tomorrow night at 9:45 EST. Going to be posting trade updates all day tomorrow on Twitter at Champion Vibes in the bottom left of your screen. Thank you for like the 3 or 4 donations tonight. Thank you guys for all the likes and the subscriptions. Looking to have another crazy week in the market. The last 3 weeks, not really last week, but the last 3 weeks before that, crazy weeks. If you've been following me on Twitter, like, at this point, probably like 35 trades that have been between 10 to 100% profit. So, been crushing it, but at the same time, manage that risk. You want to secure your gains. If you don't take profits, the market will take them for you. Of course, that doesn't work for everything. It's like if you have like retirement stocks and stuff, but you get the point. And yeah, manage that risk. Have a great night. Let's crush it in the market this week, no matter what the circumstances are. There's always a way to trade, whether the price is going up, down, or even if it's not moving. We'll figure it out because we're traders and we adapt. That's going to do it tonight. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 9:45 EST. Thank you guys very much, and peace out.